I've tried getting into OpenGL a few times before, but I usually just ended up quitting before things even got interesting. This time, however, I actually sat down, went back to the basics on learnopengl.com, probably for the 10th time, and finally built a proper template so I could actually start my own projects. The reason I did this was because I had this idea of wanting to build a ps1-style horror game. They kind of blew up a few years ago on YouTube, and seeing all these devs create these low poly horror games, I just really loved the vibe. So I decided it was time to make my own. I have tried a few game engines before, Godot, Unity, Unreal, pretty much all of the major ones, but honestly they just don't make me feel accomplished. The idea of learning an engine that someone else programmed just isn't that fun to me, and I'd rather spend that time learning programming myself and building my own engine. So that's exactly what I did. I used C++ and OpenGL, and in about 10 days of development I already had this. Although it's just a walking simulator right now, I'm still pretty proud of it for only 10 days of work. For the terrain I'm using a 16-bit height map to load a smooth mesh. I also implemented instance rendering for the trees and the grass so the performance isn't utterly trash. The grass itself is just a collection of 2D planes with transparent PNGs arranged in a plus pattern. It's a pretty classic way of getting the grass to look more real while keeping it low poly, and it was used in a lot of PS1 games. The trees, just like most of my models, are from Sketchfab. If you want to use the models yourself, you can check out my repo. I have a file where I have all of the links to the models I use in my project. I also worked on a basic camera controller where you can run, sprint and jump. I added some acceleration and deceleration to the movement, which makes it a lot more human. And of course I couldn't forget the complimentary horror game flashlight. Right now I also have a debug UI where I can tweak all the settings like lighting, tree density and render radius on the fly. I also started writing a tiny map editor a few days ago, and I'm using imgizmo to get these transformation tools that you're seeing, so I can spawn and move individual model instances directly in the scene. And that's basically where the project stands after 10 days. It's a solid foundation, but there's still a lot to do. The big plan for the future is to handle level loading, and of course getting actual enemies and animations into the game. If you want to check out the source code for yourself, the link to the GitHub repo is in the description. Feel free to take a look and leave some feedback. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.